Those speakers are in my ears. I'm not sitting here putting those things in and hacking my head off either. I've taken care of business ahead of time. Welcome to Mary Wieden You this muggy Friday. It's like, but we got a good show. It's really weird what we're going to do. We're going to start off, it's like we're being the graveyard because we've lost a lot of people this week. And we're going to talk about that with the one and only, because there's music involved there. Raphael Semmes is here, Mr. Music as I call him. And did I say your name right? Did I say it pretty good?
Yeah. Yep, Raphael Semmes.
Yeah, Raphael. Yes, because I've always said Raphael, and everybody says Raphael.
Well, it's an old Southern pronunciation. You know how that goes.
Well, welcome. And then I'll tell you what, at 9:30, you're going to meet somebody who's new to the job, and he's recently come back to Mississippi. His name is Garrett Wright, and he is the new executive director of the Rankin First Economic Development Authority. And there's some big stuff ahead for Rankin County. Hooray for Rankin County. I mean, hooray for everybody, but, Rankin County, it's your time. And I think, we're going to look for some good stuff. So, what a week, though. First of all, we started off with losing Malcolm Jamal Warner. Do you know, you remember him from
Theo Huxtable,
which I never watched, but because I'm not a sitcomer. But did you ever see The Resident? He was on a CBS show called The Resident. He was Dr. A.J. Austin, and he was very good as being a doctor. But what a shock.
Well, and speaking of music, he's also was a good musician. He was a bass player, actually.
Wow.
And you should look up some of his musical stuff.
Well, that's what you are.
Pretty cool, yeah.
You guys could have done a duet.
Yeah, I would like to have met him and everything. Talked a little bass with him. Yeah.
Did you see him perform at all in person?
No.
But was he with a particular? Did he have a group that he played with? His own group?
He was fully involved. I mean, he did some production and a lot of performing and different things like that. There's a clip rolling around out there now that of some of the stuff he's did. Play with some different artists and stuff. So,
yeah. Then came the death of Ozzy Osbourne. I'm sure you've heard their music. I know you're a jazz man, and Ozzy was not exactly jazz, but
oh man, I listened like everybody. I was a little rock and roller man back in the day. R&B and rock and roll. Yeah. I remember the first Black Sabbath record, and remember hearing the first cut, and it was real different. He definitely had his own niche that he created.
By the way, if you all would like to join in our conversation and ask some questions, we were talking about doing some maybe a quiz later on if we have time.
Yeah.
But we are at 888-808-8637. We text at 601-879-4395, and you can watch us at supertalk.fm/Mary. I didn't know, what did Ozzy die of? Was natural causes, I guess. Oh, wait a minute, he had Parkinson's.
I don't think we have time in this segment probably to list all his
stuff. But no, he did have Parkinson's. And Parkinson's is overridingly so diabolically evil. It's just a terrible disease.
He played a show like his swan song, literally, not too long before his passing. So
yes, he did. And then along yesterday comes Hulk Hogan. It's like, what? What an idiotic. And then Chuck Mangione, or Mangione, however you want to say it. And he didn't get the publicity that the others did, but I said, I know somebody who knows about some jazz music, and his name is Raphael Semmes.
Yeah, man, Chuck
tell
was
about
a
him.
Great player, played flugelhorn, and his was his specialty. And, he crossed over, brought some jazz over, and crossed over and did Feel So Good was a big hit. It was... I think it went to maybe number one on the charts back when they used to do everything a hodgepodge for the top 40 and whatnot. And he also, was a great arranger and did music for two of the Olympics.
Didn't know that. Wow!
But he was incredible, and he's also noted as being one of the guys. I think probably along with. Grover Washington and some of those people that sort of fused the pop with the jazz, and they call it smooth jazz now.
Oh, okay.
But I think Chuck was one of the, he's considered to be one of those leaders in that. So. Well,
when I looked him up yesterday, I found some music of his, and Lance knew that he played on, what was it, King of the Hill?
King of the Hill. He was a featured artist on there for the whole duration. Chuck Mangione would pop in. And he played himself, and he he would come in like anytime they had a Megalomart opening, which is like their Walmart.
Yeah.
He had signed a contract to be at every Megalomart opening. He's like, I'm doing 500 of these a year. But no, he was an extremely funny character playing himself, and he would always have the flugelhorn, and he'd be walking around. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. So it was all, and I'm hoping that they featured him again as they do the remake, and it releases here soon.
Did you find the song? Because
I have It Feels So Good, and the other,
that's one
which is the other big one is Give It All You Got.
And while you mentioned King of the Hill, I've got to say this. Do you know that Mike Judge, creator of King of the Hill, do you know that he played in Jackson, and played bass a number of times? He was kind of a regular throughout the 80s.
Judge?
Mike Judge.
Dang.
He played bass for Anson Funderburg and the Rockets.
Really?
Wow.
Well, see, they have the
Sam Myers.
the cartoon that he did after King of the Hill, and it was HBO, I think, where it
Beavis
settles.
and Butthead.
Well, no, it's the tours, Tales from the Tour Bus.
Oh yeah.
Where that's amazing. He goes into it's 2 seasons, and he's covering musicians, and from a perspective of he's interviewing them. It's him, and it's all cartooned, but it's all legitimate interviews.
wow.
It's really
Funny.
genius the way they did it.
Wow.
What's funny is that when he Anson used to tell us that when they would be on the road somewhere, they said they'd go out and do stuff and everything when they weren't playing, but Mike would stay in his motel room and he would draw, and even at that time, that's when he was developing the King of the Hill thing.
Wow.
Or no, the Beavis and Butthead.
Butthead was the first, yeah.
Yeah, and Anson was Beavis. He actually literally used Anson's features. And
I was wondering who his
the voices,
inspiration
he did-
was.
Oh, okay.
Anson.
Well, there are people who look like, and I can't think of who it is. There's somebody around who looks like Butthead. No, it looks like Beavis. I have them on. I can't find them. I love those guys.
I love them, and
I got the laughing. It's the guy. He does it himself. He did both of those laugh.
Mike Judge.
Mike Judge did both of those voices.
But they did a redo where they were older, and the older Beavis and Butthead, where they're grown, and they're so funny.
Man.
I mean, it is hilarious. But no, he's such a genius, and to me, I love the way they incorporated Mangione into the King of the Hill. You never knew when he'd pop up. You never knew when Chuck would just come out of nowhere and play the It Feels So Good.
That's hilarious.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's quite fascinating about Mike Judge being here. Where is he from originally? Not Mississippi, huh?
Texas.
Texas.
Oh, Texas. Wow. So you played with Beavis and Butthead, man.
But I was always wondering his connection with music. Now I know, because the Tales from the Tour Bus is a phenomenal documentary, but cartoon style. If you haven't seen it, it has like Rick James, and it goes into some of the great musicians of that era. And it's really high quality done in the way that it was put together, the production. I was hoping that they'd come out with a third and a fourth, because it was just phenomenal. You learned so much in the way that he presented it.
And by the way, I think his COD, cause of death, I think Chuck Mangione's, I think it was heart. I think he had a heart attack.
Yeah,
I think.
And that's what they say happened to Ozzy.
And Hulk Hogan, too.
Hulk Hogan,
yeah,
too,
they said, Hulk Hogan. I heard
Can
somebody.
you imagine being the cops that showed up to Hulk's house while
wow.
And
Well, they don't know who his name, what his real name was. It was
Terry.
Terry.
Terry is something like started with an O. I
It's
think.
like a Italianish last name.
Bosi or something.
I'll figure it out.
It ended in EA, but somebody on the air said that yesterday, and I'm thinking, who's that? And then out they pop with Hulk Hogan. I don't know where that came.
Gene Balea.
Balea, yeah, Balea.
Terry Gene Balea.
Terry
There you
Balea.
go.
Yeah, if you go to Terry Balea, who's that? Oh, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, we'll be right there. So
Well, it's funny how 3 died on virtually the same time.
well, they say
3
death comes in
celebrities.
3s,
Right,
but really
right,
4
that's
though.
right.
If you put Chuck in there, that's 4 of them.
Yeah.
That's what an incredible week. And then recently, Connie Francis died.
I saw that.
And there was somebody else, too. I can't think of who it was within the last couple of weeks anyway. But this week, like, gee, do we have to have another one? The week is not over with yet. So So, do you do maybe tributes to like Chuck Mangione, and to these others who knew music? Well, a jazz festival tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. I don't think so, but
I probably played
More pigs and jazz.
yeah,
That'd be fun.
I probably played "Feels So Good" 11,000 times in my life.
Really?
No, I don't know a whole bunch though. Seriously.
wow.
You know, because that was one jazz song that people would request that weren't really, they were just listening to regular radio, and it permeated the airwaves. So yeah, we would get requests for that.
Yeah, when I heard it, I ran into it yesterday. I was looking him up, and that music is so familiar. Everybody, if we get it, you'll recognize. You'll say, "Oh yeah, that." And so I can't believe we already had a jazz festival in April. So you and Tripp would have been on the show in April.
Every first Saturday of April.
It was April
every year.
Yeah, you had, and so this is only July. It seems like a long time ago.
Yeah, we're already working on it though.
For this coming year.
Dreaming up stuff.
Well, you got to dream up. You got to dream up people. You got to dream up your talent, and then I think you do a really good job finding sponsors. You do a great job.
Well, anybody out there?
Really.
We do. We try to get people in, and we've been very fortunate. We've had some great sponsors that one of our main things is to keep the festival free, and so you got to have sponsors, and we've had some really good ones.
Yeah.
So
who else did Hulk Hogan never played any music that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Just about, but he was quite a character.
But when I heard about Chuck Mangione, I was it reminded me of other musicians when I heard about their deaths and where I was and all that kind of stuff at the moment.
Yeah. So you asked. Go ahead. You got some questions to ask us. We'll see
I was just thinking. Like, do you remember where you were when Elvis? When you heard Elvis die?
Yeah. I was not an Elvis fan.
Where were you?
Back up north. Like, oh, okay, he died. Well, here's the thing. Time went by, though, because I never was an Elvis fan. Time went by, came to Mississippi, got married, and all that kind of stuff. And then we had an exchange student from Germany living with us a few years ago. And she was good friends with one of their cohorts from Sweden. And so Bert and I decided, let's take these girls up to Graceland and let them see what true Americana is. I don't know if Bert had ever been there before, but I certainly never had. And so we went there. Like I said, oh my Lord, you'll never see anything like this again in your lives. You talk about Americana, and then you go through and by the time I got to the end of it, and the graves are there in the backyard, I was in tears, and my respect for Elvis was way high because he really did do an awful lot. And maybe he did a lot of charity work maybe it was for tax purposes. I don't know, but he did do those things.
Yeah.
He did a lot of that stuff, and I mean. Bert did interview him when he was in the military.
I was wondering if Bert interviewed him.
Yeah, Bert used to do when he was at school. He would work in Memphis in summers and weekends. He also worked on campus. And one day he was at work in Memphis, and the general manager came and said, "Would you be interested in interviewing Elvis Presley?" Yes. So he did. He said Elvis was as nice as can be. He was a truck driver from Tupelo, Mississippi, and he revolutionized the world. He's like, he didn't know. I mean, he knew, but comprehending it for yourself and feeling it, that was the hard part that Elvis struggled with, and I think that's what got him into drugs.
Well, Lance, I wanted to ask you, do you remember where you were when you heard that Elvis passed? You were
50.
probably
I was born on the day he
6
died.
years old.
Really?
77 is when he went out.
Oh yeah,
wow.
74. I was 3. So, but I was born August 16th.
Yeah.
So I've always felt connected. Me and Madonna. We were given the spirit of Elvis. But no, I was too young to remember. But I do remember getting a little older, and probably 6 or 7, and kind of realizing how big a deal Elvis still is.
And
that he was
a
Mississippian. I didn't, until you get old enough, I didn't even know. 5 or 6. I'm like, this guy was from Tupelo.
Yeah,
oh my God!
Yes.
So I turned into a big fan, and I loved the music. Once you really dig into like Suspicious Minds and Viva Las Vegas, the depth of the sounds and the syncopation and everything working together.
His
consummate performer.
Different eras were all,
he
very
mixed
distinct.
so many things. And I will say this laughingly and seriously, I love the movies.
His movies?
I love all. I mean, I've watched, I can't tell you how many Elvis movies, not all of them because you can't find all of them. Some of them are terrible, but I absolutely love him in the movies. I do. He's just it reminds me, you think like he's the guy that came from Tupelo.
Yeah.
And you see him in all these movies like that's that guy.
He was
right
a
there.
truck driver,
And he seems like that would be his personality in those movies. Like you're saying, the nicest guy. I mean, like he comes across that way.
He was very nice.
I just think that was the way he was.
Yep. By the way, somebody texts us, Hulk had a song, Real American.
Yes, he did.
So
the
I'm
Real
looking at the
American.
computer. So I'm looking at the computer. But, I don't know if that was when he got into politics or whatever. But okay, what's your other one? Where were you?
I was sitting in.
Where were you?
I was sitting in a barber shop, and it came on the radio, and it was a lady was cutting my hair, and I think it was the Silver Scissors. It was in Oxford, Mississippi.
I remember that.
You remember that?
He lived
It was over by the mall or something.
No, it was downtown, across from it's across from the Two Stick.
That's
Theater,
it. I remember that.
Which the lyric they called there was two theaters. The one on this side of the street was the One Stick, and the lyric was the Two Stick because it only took one stick to hold the seat up in this one, but it took two sticks to hold the seats up in it.
Okay.
But no, I was sitting in the barber chair and getting a haircut, which was an un-Elvis thing to be doing, and it came over the radio,
Wow.
and of course everybody in the whole place, just a pall set over the whole deal, and the women were crying and all that. So
That's taking us out. This is the Chuck song.
Chuck.
Yeah, this is the one. Everybody will remember that. It's familiar. Now you know where it's from.
Yeah.
Wow, Raphael, thanks a lot for being in with us. Went by fast. Anyway, welcome back to Mary Wieden You. Now we're going to turn our attention to economic development in Rankin County, and I'm so excited. You're getting to meet Garrett Wright. He is practically brand spanking new executive director of the Rankin First Economic Development Authority from Mississippi, lived in Oklahoma, but you came back. Welcome back, and congratulations on the job.
I appreciate it, and thank you for having me today. My wife and I we are very happy to be back in Mississippi.
And you found a place to live in Rankin County, of course, right away.
I looked all across Rankin County, and then we settled close to daycare, close to groceries. That's what my wife wanted, so that's where we're at.
So you're not far from Dogwood. Have you ever heard the story about there was a man named Mr. Hogue who lived on a hill, I guess it'd be Oak Ridge now, but overlooking, of course it was farmland in those days. He'd look over this hill, it was a farmland at Lakeland and O'Fannin Road, if you can imagine this. And he told somebody I knew that he would envision shopping and stuff like that eventually one day. And he was one of the owners who sold land and made Dogwood what it is.
If you only knew what Lakeland looks like now.
I know. Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
It is.
What's funny is, and I moved out there when it was, still the farmland, but when you come up from Jackson, there's a hill you can come up, and then all of a sudden, at night, you see these lights and stuff, it's like, whoa, what is here? And for a long time, that was the most popular, highly sought-after region in the country in terms of economic development, the Lakeland Corridor. This was before the economy went kind of south, but did you know that?
I didn't know that, but I think
stuff.
I mean, it's only really been developed in the last 15 to 20 years.
Yes.
Before that, it was vacant land.
There was farmland.
It was agricultural land.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing is that, and we love it, although it gets to be a bit tedious sometimes, so you learn the back way of doing it.
Well, teach me those, because I need to know those back ways. I've not learned those yet.
Well,
so.
the back way really, if you want to avoid Lakeland, and we love Lakeland, right? Is Flowwood Drive. You can go downtown on Flowwood Drive. You come in downtown. You come in at it's called Silas Brown there, and Jefferson Street. WLBT is there, and you take a right and you go up. You go to the fairgrounds and all this kind of stuff, and you have completely avoided Lakeland, which was going to be great because it was 4-lane, and then they were going to make it 6 lanes. And boy, that was going to really relieve traffic, right? Wrong.
Well, you just continue continues to grow. That whole corridor continues to grow.
Well,
so.
it does, and if you, it is still. You're right. It's so great. And for a long time, it'd be like if you didn't go down and up and down Lakeland for a couple of weeks, you didn't know where you were. It was like, wait a minute, what is this? And where is this? What is all that?
Well, they're constantly developing new things. I mean, we had the pickleball courts just announced last week.
Yeah, you got
City of Flowood.
Yeah, so. they got the ones about the Y, and then is there another? Oh, there's another pair of pickleball courts.
Well, last week the City of Flowood announced the new courts, the pickleball courts. We weren't necessarily fully involved in it, but it's supposed to be a food-led pickleball court where they're going to have like a food extravaganza of food, and then they're also going to have pickleball there. So,
but it's behind there was a rink or something, roller rink or something. It's not the same one. It's not the one by the Y. It's another one, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So that has opened, right? I love it. This is another thing. Flowood. Well, what did Flowood used to be? Long ago and far away, it was like broken glass factories. That was about it. And Lance is from Rankin County. Grew up in Rankin County. You remember when old Flowood was the city offices were in a trailer. I think it was a blue trailer someplace down on Flowood Drive. It was terrible.
Well, it was basically broken glass.
But the broken glass factories.
Drive, it was a beautiful sight to drive by for 20 years and see this pile of glass over there. Going, man, they break a lot of glass around here. But Flowood's changed so much.
Well,
economic development in Rankin County has advanced much beyond that, and hopefully we're going to continue advancing well beyond that.
What's exciting is, there's just some things that I know some things you can't talk about, but we'd like to hear about it. Anyway, what you can say, there's going to be an announcement coming along supposedly soon, $1 billion project. Now, shall I inquire, is that going to be more than a data center, or is it going to be commerce? Places, shops, and stuff like that. Can you say?
You'll have to wait on the news there, but it's going to be it'll be one of the biggest investments ever in the history of Rankin County,
and we'll all get to enjoy it.
It will be hugely impactful for our tax base, hugely impactful for our community.
I have to say, by the way, during the political season, I had a lot of people on from Rankin County. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I asked everyone, as a former ice skater, I can't skate anymore because I killed my hips when we had a rink here. It was at just as you get into Rankin County on Lakeland. It's become various things. I don't know if it's anything now, but we had this rink and it was great. Full-time year-round, but it was poorly owned, poorly managed, I should say. It had no publicity or anything, and it went out of business. But if you take the Tri-County area and that would account for at least 500,000 people, and that would be plenty of people to staff and have customers come to a skating rink. So I'm asking, if anybody wants a skating rink, I know somebody who would love to be the skating director. It's a woman who lives in Hazelhurst. She was our skating director, and she knows all these money people, and she's talked to them over the years, like, we should do it again. So
I have to remember
it would be really very cool because, you were in Oklahoma, you had skating rinks out there. And you also had, in Oklahoma City, like a river walk. We know about that. It did a lot, didn't it?
Yeah, so a little bit about Oklahoma, and I'm not from Oklahoma. I'm from South Mississippi originally. We were out there for about 4.5 years. My wife and I were. We enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. But the good thing about Oklahoma City after the bombing, a terrible tragedy, yes, they truly invested in themselves. They found out that they couldn't wait on somebody else to come back and build that city. So they found solutions. The city found solutions to invest in themselves and really raise their overall city, because it was not somewhere you wanted to be probably 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So the city and the citizens found ways to reinvest in themselves without waiting on some third party to come in and save them. So they did a good job at that.
If we have something like that, though, I think it would probably be more, it would sort of abut Rankin County if we ever get this one lake project. I don't know if that ever happens. That would be good if we had that. But let's say we probably won't, because it's taken forever. I mean, they had the flood in 1979, and nothing's been done yet in case there's another flood, a little bit widening of the river. But that doesn't really impact Rankin County all that much.
Well, it's pretty impactful, actually. We have a lot of that territory in Rankin County. And I did see a new report that came out in the last couple of weeks. I think there's a public hearing on it in August. So they're making progress on that project. So.
Well, we hoped that it was going to happen. I've been following it too, and we were hoping by now that a lot of things would be settled, because the downriver people get all upset and blah, blah, and we have to go through all that kind of stuff. But the rest of Rankin County, though, it's got to be kind of like a picnic ground for you. I would think there's a lot of land out there just kind of ripe for things, right? Especially data centers. Explain data centers so that people understand. And why are they always just one story?
So,
Once I've
a
seen.
little bit about my background. I came from a power company in Oklahoma. I worked for a large power company called American Electric Power, and we worked a lot of data center projects, a lot of data center activity across all of the U.S. I think at one time in Oklahoma we had over 50 active projects that were data center projects. It's just, you read the news, it's everything from the people you have the apps on your phone to, I would say, tire kickers and land developers. But data centers are hugely impactful from a tax base. They can actually, they like to cluster together. They like to have a few of those investments together. But they can really move a region forward from a tax base perspective. A lot of water, a lot of electric use, usually only about 100 jobs, maybe 150 jobs in some scenarios, but they continuously turn over that investment in new equipment and new machinery. So that tax base turns over regularly for our community. So that's very good for schools, can be good for cities and counties as well.
Yeah.
But they can be impactful because you build a culture of that technology mindset for your region. So that's why they can be pretty impactful.
I don't think this would apply, but I was told years ago that Mississippi is a lot of natural gas, and there are companies from around the country that mine our natural gas and pipeline it out of here. But I haven't heard anything more about it because the person who told me that is no longer with us, and I haven't kept up with that. But we have that, but that's not exactly building a data center. But data centers, there are a couple now, I think, in Madison County, and so I know that you envision our having that here in Rankin County, correct?
I think it's one type of company we need to be targeting in Rankin County. There's a lot of different target industries we have in Rankin County, but it's one certainly that we want to capture and make sure we capitalize on for Rankin County because there's a lot of activity in that sector right now. But that is not our focus fully, but we want to make sure we do capitalize and get our fair share in Rankin County.
Do you want to have commercial operations? Or I think we're doing probably pretty well in housing, but you can always do more. It's going and blowing by the reservoir, by the way, not reservoir property, but north of the reservoir properties. I mean, there's just so much of it out there. We might even have to have another traffic light out there, which is shocking. It's just not a traffic light.
Could they put another one in front of Shaggy's, though? I just want 3.
Oh, yeah. We need
to transition to more roundabouts. I do like the roundabouts.
Do you?
So.
Well, when we got one in Madison County a few years ago, we didn't know how to use it. We were so stupid. I was doing helicopter traffic at the time when they built it. We'd get video of people, navigating around. And my advice was, if you go on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning when most people are at church, take yourself and maybe some other cars with you and practice how to use a roundabout because we don't know. I mean, they got a bunch of them on Jackson State's Parkway now. I don't know if they finally mastered it or not. And they sort of mastered it up in Madison County, but it ain't easy if you never done one of them things, But anyway, so there's a lot of housing growth. Do you envision more commercial growth?
I think we'll naturally see more commercial growth. Our cities get very involved in commercial growth, and that's retail and some hospitality. We get involved, from Rankin First's perspective, we get involved in industrial growth. So what we work with is our existing companies, the Ergons, the Siemens, those type of companies, and our warehouse and distribution, trying to grow our existing companies and then also trying to recruit new companies to the region. But from a retail perspective, a lot of that is it chases rooftops. So I think that you can set up a good environment for them, have them good sites, and our cities can have them good sites, good streamlined, straightforward permitting. But that's not necessarily what Rankin First. We don't get involved in that on a daily basis.
I do like to hope that, and I've talked about this with candidates, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this with Kathy Smith, who became the mayor of Flowood, that as a matter of fact, we did talk about that. Do you remember that, Lance? We were talking with Kathy Smith about what to do with the old Steinmart, the old Steinmart on Lakeland. I mean, that was quite a going place, Steinmart, and then there are empty stores near it, and that is supposed to be happening, but that's not through you all. But
that would mainly be through the city of Flowood, but I do know they are actively working that property. It's a premier property in a great location, so they're actively working that right now, trying to get it filled up with different tenants.
It needs to have that. We need more traffic on Lakeland and Old Fannin Road.
We'll take all the tax dollars we can get.
That's right.
That's good for our region.
And let's do something with the old the burger place. What was it? Great American Hamburgers or something? What was that one, Lance?
Was it Backyard Burgers?
Backyard Burgers.
Backyard Burgers.
They were initially local Mississippians from I don't know where. I think north of
They
Mississippi.
had very good burgers, so I don't know what happened there.
Oh, so where did you have them out there?
We had them on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, okay.
When they were there when I lived on the Gulf Coast.
Well, speaking of the Gulf Coast, if you go to Shaggy's at night and sit down by the water and eat. You maybe have done this. You don't know that you're in Rankin County, Mississippi. You could be down at the coast. You could be any place. It's awesome because when you're by water, water is everywhere.
Well, they've got great seafood and a great environment there at Shaggy's.
So
we love going there personally.
Oh, do you? All right, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Got Garrett Wright here. He is the executive director, the brand new one, of Rankin First Economic Development Authority. So we'll be right back. Stay where you are. Practically brand new now. You've been here a month maybe. Garrett Wright, he is executive director of the Rankin First Economic Development Authority. We've been talking about where things are. Talking about, first of all, somebody said the whole city of Flowood was underwater in the 79 flood. Well, I wasn't here but that is true. There was one place down on Lakeland and Layfair maybe that survived. But now, I don't know, people are supposed to be building above the flood level. You have that. The pickleball place, somebody says it's behind Primo's in the old Antonelli College building. That's going to be there. And somebody says, please ask him if the new investment will be in Flowood, Brandon, or Pearl. There you go.
Well, I appreciate y'all pointing out Primos. This is week 6 on the job. I'm still on geography around Rankin County.
Well, if you don't know Primos, then there's something wrong. No, it's right there.
It is a premier breakfast place, and
Yes.
I love it. That's a very good breakfast. From the Economic Development Project, right now it's in Rankin County, obviously. We'll work 100 projects in a year. And if we win 4 or 5 of them, that's been a great year. And we chase a lot of stuff. We work a lot of stuff. And if we win a small handful, it's been a great year. But I can't tell you where it's at, but I'll tell you where we have key industrial parks right now.
Yeah, where do we?
We have a large site in Pearl. That the Board of Supervisors just took down a few years ago that we're working through due diligence on, getting it more prepared for site development. And then we also have our East Metro Center, which is in the city of Brandon, kind of near the amphitheater area. That's an industrial park we've had for many years. So still a lot of vacant land on both of those parcels. But most of those parcels in Brandon at the East Metro Center are pad-ready sites, well-developed sites that we have them ready. We call them shovel-ready sites for economic development.
That'd be good.
So.
Well, one of the best things that happened, I think, is the East Metro Parkway. You can go from the reservoir where I live. You can go down to the Honda place, Bob Boyd Honda. You don't have to get off the road. You just got to go through a few lights in downtown Flowood, as I call, down where everything is. But that's it, and that's a good thing. Then there's going to be another one coming in somewhere over in there, West Metro Parkway, I guess.
There's West Rankin Parkway as well, which is essentially it kind of splits Pearl and Flowood. Supposedly that's supposed to be opening up by end of this year, first of next year, and that's going to open up a lot of new development areas for industrial and some commercial.
What it did in Oxford, there was a road up there called West Oxford Loop, and they did the same thing, eventually connecting Highway 6 out to Highway 7 almost. And it was beautiful woods and just pristine. Nothing was out there. As soon as they opened that thing up, boy, that land went whoop, and things started getting developed. And I ran that road for 2 years while they were building it. I loved it. It was just you go out there and run, take my dog.
Truly ran it.
As soon as it got paved, though, once that pavement hit, you were like, all right, I'm going to have to find another place to run. But that's what the West Parkway reminds me of. It's just going to really open up so much land.
And one day you'll be able to go from Lakeland to Spillway Road without having to go all the way over to Ridgewood or Highway 471 because it crosses over a swamp to get to the reservoir. It's a chore, but that's down the road. But infrastructure is real important for you, isn't it? You need sewers and you need running water and you need roads.
Infrastructure kind of drives site selection when we talk about economic development. It's everything from does it have the power there? Does it have the water and sewer, interstates, highways, fiber, and gas? I mean, that's really, they call it site selection. Economic development, when a company's picking a new site, they call it site selection because they are picking a site first and then they look at all the other aspects. So they really start with finding the best site that has all the attributes they need for their project or their company.
Well, yeah, I would imagine they've gone through that stuff like when Amazon built their big place in Madison County. At the time, I suppose when they found it, there was nothing there but land. Mm-hmm. But you ain't got nothing if you ain't got the land. Yeah. So you got to find that, and those other things can easily obtain, I do believe. You can get. By the way, I thought that was interesting about Amazon. I asked somebody one time. I was wondering why it was not located when they were talking about the big site. Why wasn't it near an airport or anything? It was like where you have to go to the airport, and they said because Amazon only uses ground transportation. Did you know that? That's an interesting thing. So, a good thing to
You
know.
just told me something. I didn't know that.
Yes,
So.
I didn't know. I thought I was so surprised. It makes sense, though. They do.
You would think as quickly as they can get us products, they would be using more air.
Well, that's why they've got their distribution places. They also said that this one that has products no bigger than like a bread box. So if you want to get some shoes or stuff like that, underwear or some clothing items, the way it was told to me was this was before it was built. Was that you place your order, and within 15 seconds, a robot will take it, package it, and have it ready to go. So, but yeah, we've got some great roads in Rankin County, and without Yazoo clay, which is amazing. And you know about Yazoo clay.
Well, that was certainly something I had to learn about, was Yazoo clay when I moved to this region.
So when you grew up, you went to Southern, right? USM.
I did.
And so you didn't know about Yazoo clay. But the funny thing, did you grow up south or north of I-10?
So I grew up just north of I-10.
Oh, okay. Because I know the thought, about if it's north of I-10, we don't care about it.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way it is. And the coast is developing well. That's good. But we can do as well. And you got a lake here, that you can utilize in some sort of a way.
I think the reservoir, from a personal perspective, it's an amenity we need to capture as much as possible. So obviously there's a lot of land that's developable around it. I'd be surprised to say when we came here, I expected more kind of mixed-use development, more development. Shaggy's is a good development, a lot of housing, but I'm surprised there's not more kind of commercial mixed-use development right around the reservoir.
I agree, and I've lived there for a long time, and I've always felt that the reservoir should be a shining light of economic development for Rankin County. Madison and all that, they have their stuff over there, but we need stuff, and there are two places that you can, two places to go. Shaggy's, and the other one is Pelican Cove. Of course, that's in Madison County. But, those are the two places you can go to. There is talk about a new restaurant being near Arbor Landing. I don't know much about it other than I know that the reservoir wanted to develop something that was boatable. You could take drive in and out with your boat. That would be nice. It would be a lovely place. Kind of hard to get to by road, but yeah, there's a lot of land up there that can be developed, and so I imagine you'll be looking at that. Although you'll look at industrial things, but what if somebody said, well, hey, Garrett, we want you to help us do some commercial stuff, or residential or whatever. What do you do?
So if our partners want us to get involved on kind of unique mixed-use developments, some large commercial developments, we'll certainly get involved and see how we can support them. Our background, I've got a good partner named Regina Todd at Rankin First, very much an economic developer, very much an industrial background. So that's what we focus on. But we get very involved in anything we can do to support our cities and our county on if they've got an idea. I'll give you one example. When I did economic development in Hattiesburg at the Area Development Partnership at the ADP.
I hear Hattiesburg is going and blowing.
Hattiesburg's doing very well.
Yes.
And we got very involved in the development there called Midtown Hattiesburg, right across the street from the University of Southern Mississippi.
You are doing an amazing job there, too. If you were part of that, I'd absolutely love the way it came around, and it's just such a comfortable spot.
It is.
It really is.
It was an area that was really underdeveloped by the university, underdeveloped by the city for a long time. And then there was a consortium of the city, the county, and the Area Development Partnership and several other partners that got involved and really redeveloped Midtown Hattiesburg. So if there's those type of developments that our cities or our county wants to get involved in, we'll absolutely do that.
Good. How do you recruit people to come to Mississippi and specifically to Rankin County? Do you go to them? You can't wait for them to come to you because it'd be like, how the old reputation, I think, is finally starting to change. But, the old reputation, Mississippi, it should be, Mississippi. That's what we want it to be. But how do you find them to come here? Your connections, but still.
Yes, we need to be more proud of who we are from a state. And I don't think that we showcase externally, and I say externally, out of the state, kind of every attribute we have, everything from the top schools to the quality of life that we have, even from a financial perspective, how competitive our prices are in Mississippi. We've got to be more boastful about who we are.
I agree with you 1,000%, and I think that comes through tourism, through the tourism department.
It does.
And they need to reach out not just to us. We know pretty much what's here, but it's more important that people in Virginia or Idaho or some of these other places, Michigan, wherever, that they know about it, because we want them to say, Oh, I didn't know about that. You know,
You're going to see us get a bit more aggressive on marketing who we are for Rankin First, Rankin County, showcasing the quality of life we have. But it's not only just quality of life, because that's one aspect. It's everything from our economic development, it's our workforce partners, it's what our utility partners bring to the game and bring to a project. We've got to be a lot more proud of who we are to showcase that. And we go to trade shows, we put it in trade magazines, when we send out direct information to companies and to site selection consultants who help site projects. But we've got to be a lot more proud of that, and we are.
That's excellent. And people, locals who may say, "Oh, well, we'll lose our flavor." No, you won't. You'll still keep the flavor, right? You know, you're not going to lose your flavor. You're not going to lose your shirts over it either. You know, it'll be good for everybody. It's not going to be anything intimidating. Yeah. I guess. Yeah, we are about out of time. Are you going to go meet with some people today? Maybe. I'm expecting big things from you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Really?
I've been meeting with we've got a lot of things underway from a site development perspective and new buildings underway. Been meeting with a lot of companies on that.
Want to hear about the big stuff, that big $1 billion deal. I can't wait to hear about that one, huh?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully in the next couple months.
Good deal. All right, Garrett Wright, thanks an awful lot. Much luck to you. Much luck to all of us in Rankin County and those of you in the other counties as well. All right, have a good weekend. See you all next week.
Thank you.
What you talking about?